Welcome to Open BXRX Tuesday on BronxNet. I'm your host, Ashley Tiffaney, filling in for Sanji Lopez. And I'd like to invite you to get social with us at BronxNet TV on Instagram and Twitter, and BronxNet Community Television on Facebook. Bronx Climate Justice North, BCJN, is a grassroots climate justice organization based in the North Bronx. They understand climate change requires profound political and economic shifts and a deeper look into social and racial inequities. Join us now to discuss the fight for climate justice in the Bronx and beyond is their coordinator, Jennifer Scarlott. How are you today?
Wonderful. Thank you for having me, Ashley. It's great.
Thank you for joining us, Jennifer. So yeah, let's just jump right into it. Talk about the work BCJN does in the community.
Sure. So we got started in the fall of 2014. A lot of your viewers may remember the epic People's Climate March, which gathered 500,000 people walking down Central Park West, I think it was, and demanding, urgent action on the climate from global leaders who were gathering at the UN at that time in September 2014. And in the summer leading up to that enormous march, I and countless other, climate and social justice activists around the city and around the world, actually, because this was not just a New York City event, but a national and a global event, began to find each other. And that's one of the beauties of street action and of really putting your feet on the ground and getting together with other people, is that you find each other. So during that summer leading up to the September 2014 march, a little group of us began to find each other in the Northwest Bronx, and we began to reach out to fellow activists in other parts of the Bronx. And as BronxNet certainly knows, the Bronx is a big place. It's a city in itself, countless neighborhoods, widely varying everything. So it was really wonderful to begin to find people, for example, at Brook Park in the Mott Haven neighborhood, and, down in the Point and Hunts Point area, and just to begin to really come together. So Bronx Climate Justice North was initially, begun by people up in the Riverdale, Kingsbridge, Marble Hill area. And so to get media attention in the lead up to the march, we just gave ourselves a very locally geographic name, Riverdale Kingsbridge Coalition for Climate Action. And, that succeeded. We got press with that name. But we quickly, after the march, which was wonderful in the sense that there were so many bodies there and so much passion and so many new and old groups, rising up and coming together and strengthening the work, we settled in for the long haul up here in the northwest corner of the Bronx. And we quickly changed our name to the name we have now, Bronx Climate Justice North. And that was really to focus on two things. One, the justice aspect of climate justice. And secondly, on the fact that we wanted to be a Bronx-wide organization, not just, only based in the northwest corner. So then we were off and running, and we created 3 working groups.
And why did you decide to come up with that term, climate justice?
Climate justice was beginning as a term to get traction in the environmental movement and in the climate change movement as a whole. It certainly wasn't a term that we coined. It was beginning to get traction because, environmental activists, which to some extent in this country has often been a white-dominated and white-led effort, began to kind of wake up to the reality that, for decades, there had been people of color doing crucial work on environmental justice in their neighborhoods. And these same, climate activists began also to see that climate change was hitting first and worst the people on the front lines. People who were poorer in marginalized, underserved communities, that kind of thing. So the justice aspect is crucial, both in terms of fairness, because, people who have contributed the least to the problem of climate change are suffering the most from it. And then, so a fairness issue, and it just allows us to do much more intersectional work.
And that's very important because the Bronx is very diverse too.
Exactly.
And how is BCJN keeping the Bronx community clean and informed?
Right. So clean, as a climate justice group, we're not so much organized around sort of more traditional efforts at, keeping localities clean, so to speak. We work at a sort of more macro level of educating folks about climate change, about climate justice, and helping people come together both to learn and to, frankly, a lot of our focus is on street protest and street action, and working in solidarity with Indigenous groups, people of color groups, that kind of thing. Yeah. So we are not a traditional, in the sense that, litter needs to be picked up and streams need to be cleaned up and air needs to be cleaned and all of that. That's not our primary focus, despite it, how important it is. And I would just say that one of our earliest efforts was to stand with South Bronx Unite in its efforts to get the air cleaner down in what is known as Asthma Alley. And I say down just because, a couple miles from where I am in the Northwest Bronx. So in the Mott Haven and, South Bronx neighborhoods.
Okay. And neighborhoods across the East Coast were flooded by the aftermath of Hurricane Ida, including mine in Queens and Rebecca, her area as well, warning New York it's time to get serious about climate change. What are your thoughts on the city and state officials' preparation for Hurricane Ida, especially for minority communities?
Yeah. A few thoughts. One is just in terms of sheer physical preparation, it's obviously woefully inadequate. And it's not as if the city hasn't had plenty of warning. I mean, Superstorm Sandy devastated communities and caused horrendous loss of life and suffering. So it's shameful that the city hasn't done more to figure out how to mitigate the effects of storms, which are inevitable and will be increasing both in number and in ferocity, because the more that water temperature warms because of the warming air, that feeds stronger and stronger storms and more frequent storms. So yeah, the city is woefully unprepared. And then, with a group like ours, we want to focus both on the need for preparation and resilience, but a sole focus on that can lead one to just kind of fight fires. And what also needs to happen simultaneously is that we need to get a grip on, greenhouse gas emissions, so that the problem doesn't get worse and worse and worse. And we just keep doing a sort of whack-a-mole approach of dealing with the aftermath of horrible, horrible storms. So, we're very much invested in trying to not only keep up with climate change, but reverse it to the extent possible.
And what does this mean for low-income communities in whole? What should they do and how should they get involved?
Yeah. I think the best thing people can do is, I am hesitant about speaking. I certainly am not speaking for low-income communities. But I think the best thing that folks can do in terms of the big picture is to work collectively, not just as an individual. So that means just simply, as a start, finding out what groups in your area are doing environmental justice work and going to their meetings and, finding out who they are and developing those relationships, and then digging in to whatever extent one's skills match up with the needs of those groups. So collective action is absolutely crucial, And then, collectively, those groups can lean on city officials and elected officials and that kind of thing to both mitigate the effects of climate change and protect frontline communities, and also to on the bigger scale, try to begin to reverse some of what's happening to our climate. And that is still possible.
And how can we there are still wildfires happening on the West Coast, and we're getting hurricanes and tornadoes in the Northeast, among other things. What does this mean for the present and future of our planet?
I work with climate activists who, while on the one hand, they're very aware of how dire the situation is with the kinds of things you're describing, Ashley, the wildfires, the hurricanes and tornadoes and all the rest of it, the typhoons. I mean, and we're talking about not just this country, but, this is, as people know, it's a global phenomenon and worsening all the time. We've just experienced the hottest summer on record for this planet. It's crucial that people, grasp the reality of this, and my own fellow activists frequently sort of, despite their personal scientific awareness of the seriousness of the problem, they will often worry that if they share how bad it is and what a bad place we're in as a planet and as communities, that people will get scared and shut down and go away and just not deal with it. And that's understandable, but denial is one of our worst enemies. It's really gonna just, unfortunately, feed the problem. So on the one hand, we have to find the courage to face the realities that these terrifying things that are happening are being caused by human activity. But in that, we humans, there is tremendous hope for what we can do concretely to reverse this phenomenon. Concretely, again, I would just urge people in neighborhoods to find people like them. So literally, if you have a computer, or you can go to a library and use a computer, just Google, your neighborhood or your borough and climate justice and see what comes up. And my organization is happy to try to help connect people as well.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. I know it's a lot. It's a lot of information, and we're going to let our viewers know to keep in touch with you and your organization. Right. Thank you so much, Jennifer. And yes, we'll be right back.